Hey,
Hi, Padmini.
Okay.
Hi, Jasna.
I just got my cue. Everybody, please stand by. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those assembled, welcome once again to our Saturday's Australasia. And I probably messed that up with my American accent. But anyhow, open for the young at heart and the young. I'm Baba C. I'm sitting in today, literally sitting in today for John Rowe. And we have Princess Jasmine with us so far. We have Padmini, and we have David Hartfield. Heathfield. Okay. And myself, and I'm quite sure others will be joining us in a bit. In the meantime, Phil is joining us. Just a moment. Did we get her? All right, Phil is here also. So we're going to have a great time. Who wants to go first? Padmini, are you going to tell a story today?
I just got to know about this from David G. So I just joined it. Well, I will tell.
It's okay. If you want to listen and watch, that's fine. No one's ever forced to tell a story, but we always give everybody an invitation to tell a story. The Queen Mother has joined us along with her princess.
Everyone, how are you all after a long time?
I'm still waking up.
Because of the odd timing. It's too late. So we are not able to join now. For sure, we'll be able to join because the timings are changed half an hour before, right?
Right. We're now meeting half an hour early on Tuesdays. And yes,
Saturdays.
Right. And don't forget, there's always Friday evening when we have a featured storyteller. And this morning, if I seem like I'm kind of twirling around, it's because it's 5 a.m. where I am. And I've been up since 2 a.m. because I did not want to miss this. All right, so I know Princess Jasmine has a story for us. Does the Mother Queen have a story as well?
No, not ready yet now.
Okay, it's cool.
Next time.
All right, and we have witnesses that you said that. David, do you have a story?
I'll tell a story, but only if Aman and Padmini also tell a story, because both of you women are friends and both of you have done storytelling courses with me. I don't know if you've met each other. Padmini, meet Aman. Aman,
no.
meet Padmini.
Hi,
you've
hello.
got to tell stories
Namaste.
too.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, I shall tell the story. That one which I did for the course presentation, a small one. That should be fine.
Perfect.
Thank you, David.
Let me search on. Give me a little time.
All right. I think the princess is going to be the first one today. And good morning, Phil. Will you be telling a story today?
Yes.
Hamish is going to tell a story today.
All right.
Hamish the Highland Coup.
So let's do Jasmine first. Then we'll go to Phil, then to Padmini, and then David. Does that sound good? Because now I need to write that down. Because my brain is not awake yet.
May I start?
Yes, Jasmine. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess Jasmine.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine and I'm from India. Today I will be narrating the story, The 9 Questions of a Princess. Princess Suraprabha, who was very beautiful and intelligent, wanted to marry a man who was more intelligent than her. She was not too concerned about lookings or wealth. She always wanted an intelligent and wise man. Then he told his father that let any man ask me questions, and then if I'm unable to answer that one, That one man will be my man, and I will marry him. The king knew well how bright she was and worried. What if no man could answer all the questions that he asked? Then he will be rejected and will not get a second chance. The king had no choice and he had to agree to her in any condition. And so he made the announcement in the kingdom. Many people arrived to try their luck, but the princess was too clever for them, and she answered each one's question in no time. The king became more and more worried. He decided to talk to his most trusted friend, Ganpati Maharaj, was a teacher about this. Ganpati Maharaj, how can you help me out? And then he said he would send his brightest students. The next day, a handsome young man appeared in court. He was dressed simply, but his eyes shone with the light of knowledge. He announced that he had 9 questions for the princess, and in no time was sitting before her. The first question was, how many stars are in the sky? Surya Prabha replied, there are as many stars as hair on a goat. Which one is the most beautiful child on earth? Surya Prabha replied, for every mother, her child is the most beautiful. Third question. It is the difference between our eyes and ears. Our eyes will always see the truth, but our ears can hear both truth and lies. Then the man got confused because he had asked 3 questions and the princess replied all of them. Then he asked, which person has hands yet is considered handless? Then Surya Prabha replied, a rich man who does not share his wealth. Then he asked, who has eyes but is still blind? So can you answer me this? Who has eyes but is still blind? Anyone?
I'm going to leave this to the wisdom of David. Who has eyes but is still blind?
Is it a needle?
No.
Oh,
No.
So the answer is a man without compassion who does not see the suffering that exists in the world. Then he showed her a picture of a crumbling palace and asked what it meant. By now, the princess was sure that this was no ordinary man, but it did not take her long to answer this question also. A house without a proper foundation, even if it is a palace, will collapse. He showed another picture of an old lady collecting firewood while carrying a heavy load on her back. The princess smiled and replied, the picture depicts a human greed. The woman has collected so much of wood, yet she does not give up to collect more of them. Now the princess had answered 7 questions accurately. There were only 2 left. And then the man replied, which is the question you cannot answer? So this was the 8th question for the princess. Now Surya Prabha was stumped because if she told him that what was the question she could not answer, he would ask that question in the 9th one and she would have been defeated. So she smiled and bowed her head and said, I accept my defeat. Thus, it came to be the 2 wisest people in the kingdom got married and lived happily ever after. Thank you.
That was great. And David, her question about the eyes is a reminder that sometimes we have to think outside the box. I think as we become older, we become literal thinkers. You know, that was great. But I have to interrupt the order just a moment because Princess Jasmine reminded me of a story about a princess, and I'll condense it. And this story is about, well, there was a king, an Oba, and he had a daughter who was renowned throughout his kingdom. She was alleged to be as beautiful as she was smart, and she was incredibly smart. She could read and do math. She was just wonderful. But then, as it was their tradition, it became time for her to take a husband. And the father said, "My daughter, it is time for you to take a husband. I shall pick one for you." And she said, "Oh, Baba, please do not just pick any old man for me. Allow me to pick my husband." "Pick your husband? Pick your husband?" "Foolish girl, what kind of husband would you pick? What kind of man would you choose?" She said, "I would want one who would be not only my husband, but my best friend, who would be wise and understanding and care as much for me as I care for him, and who would also be a great father to our children." And the Oba, the king, thought, "Indeed, you are my daughter. You are as wise as you are beautiful. I will allow you to pick your husband." And so word went from near and far and near. And people began to gather, and they competed for the princess's hand. She was so bored. She stopped talking to folk. She just waved them away. A big, strong man who had muscles on his muscles came and said, "If you marry me, no one will ever bother you. I will make sure you're secure and happy." She was not impressed. A hunter came who was fierce. He said, "Marry me, and you will never go hungry. I will bring you only the finest game." She was not impressed. A rich man came who was so rich his servants had servants, and he said, "Marry me, and you'll never want for anything. I can buy you the finest clothes. I can get you the best of food. I can build for you the most beautiful palace." She was not impressed, but she had not spoken to any of these men, and found her father said, "You foolish little girl, are you trying to embarrass me? I tell you what, the first man that can make you speak, you shall marry. It is not open for negotiation. It will not be discussed." And so the men continued coming. And a prince from a nearby kingdom came and asked the king, he said, "Almighty Oba, Almighty King, if your daughter would have me, I would love to be her husband. For I hear she is as wise as she is beautiful, and indeed she is beautiful. I hear that she can read and do math. I would be honored to be her husband. I would be her best friend, and I would also be a great father to our children." And the king said, "Well, she's down in her garden. Make her speak and she will marry you." And so he went down to the garden where she was doing what people do in gardens. And she was pulling up the weeds and planting seeds, pulling up the weeds and planting seeds. And he said, "Oh, you are so beautiful. You're much too beautiful to be working out in this hot sun. Let me do this for you. Have a seat under here. And here's some cool coconut water for you. And I will do this. I will do this." And so she sat on the tree, drinking the cool coconut water. And the prince went out to her garden, and he began pulling up the seeds and planting the weeds, pulling up the seeds and planting the weeds, pulling up the seeds and planting the weeds. And she saw what he was doing. She said, "You foolish man, you silly, silly man, what are you doing? You're pulling up the seeds and planting the weeds. No, 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 that is not what you do to my garden." And she got up and chased him, and he was acting like he was afraid. And they ran all the way back to where the king was sitting on his throne. And she was going, "You foolish man, you have ruined my garden." And at that moment, she realized she had been tricked. And she looked at him and realized that indeed he was as wise as he was handsome. And she agreed to marry him. And you know what? They did live happily ever after. He was her best friend, and he was a great father. And they say that, well, they made stories of their own. But oops, I stepped on a pen, the pen bent, and that's the way that story went. All right. Phil, I see you're still cooking, but you're up. Or do we need to come back to you later?
I think if
What
I
was your-
unmute, yes, I have unmuted. This is
Okay.
Hamish. Hamish the Highland Coo. Now, Hamish the Highland Coo is just a little bit ill cricket. And he's doing his mother's head in. He's running about the cottage and he's making all the noise under the sun, and he's getting into this and he's getting into that, and he's going, that's enough. Go outside and play. I've had enough, because he had done the one thing that lifts the hair on the back of her head. He took his horns down the side of the radiator, and that sound of the horns was the end. Get outside and play outside. Don't you dare leave the field outside the cottage. Hamish takes off, goes down, munching away here, munching away there, gets down to the gate at the bottom, and it was open, and Hamish couldn't stop himself. Outside the gate he went, onto the road, round the corner, up the hill, down the hill, round the next corner, up another hill, down another hill, and then he saw the most luscious, wonderful green grass that you have ever seen at the other side of a fence. And that was it. Hamish's head was inside that fence, and he was munching away like mad. And he ate it all up, and it was lovely, and his belly was full, and it was time to go home. And he went to pull his head out of the fence. And nothing happened. He was stuck. Round the corner, up the hill, down the hill, round a few more corners up the hill, and there was no way his mum could hear him. But trotting along the road came a donkey, and the donkey goes, "Oh, Hamish, what a noise, what on earth's wrong with you? I'm stuck. Can you not see I'm stuck? I can't get my head out of the fence." The donkey goes, "Hamish, calm down, I'll help you." And the donkey grabs hold of Hamish's tail, and he pulls, and Hamish's pulls, and the pull, and the pull, and the pull. I'm still stuck. I can't get out. It's no helping. It's no any use. I'm still stuck. Well, just with that, there's a patter of little wee feet coming along the road. And here comes a sheep. And the sheep goes, "Hamish, what on earth is your racket? I could hear you from miles away. I come to see if it was wrong with you. I'm stuck. I can't get out. I saw this luscious bit of green grass. I ate it all, and I can't get out. My head's stuck. My horns is in the road. Dinna worry, loon." And the sheep grabs hold of the donkey's tail, and the donkey grabs hold of Hamish's tail, and the three of them pull and pull and pull and pull and pull, but it's no use. Hamish is still stuck. And along comes a collie dog. The collie dog says, "Hamish, what on earth is wrong with you? I can hear you from miles away. I'm stuck. I can't get out. My ears are sore, my horns are sore, my nose is sore, my throat is sore. I can't get out. I'm stuck." "Oh, calm down, Hamish. Calm down. We'll get you out." So the collie dog grabs hold of the sheep's tail, and the sheep's tail grabs hold of the donkey's tail, and the donkey grabs hold of Hamish's tail, and they pull and they pull and they pull. I'm still stuck. I can't get out. This is no use. It's no working. What are we going to do? Well, they all have a little wee conversation, but they're also getting a little bit fed up by Hamish moaning. "For goodness sake, Hamish, will you stop whining? We'll get you out. We'll work it out." Just and along there was this little wee squeak, squeak, squeak noise. And Abdi looks down, and there's a tiny little wee moose. And the moose goes, "I'll help you." And they all laughed. Hamish says, here, Naomi, you'll never be able to help me. And the donkey goes, well, if I can't help him, and how on earth are we moose going to help? And the sheep was just as not impressed. And the collie dog was definitely not impressed. He goes, well, you'll never find out unless you try. So the moose grabs hold of the collie dog's tail, and the collie dog grabs hold of the sheep's tail, and the sheep grabs hold of the donkey's tail, and the donkey grabs hold of Hamish's tail, and they pull and pull and pull, and we popped Hamish. And Hamish, being the kind of loon he is, just goes, thank you, Mom, it's for tea, and he just heads off home. And that is the story of Hamish the Highland Coo.
That was indeed a tale of tales told well by a teller of tales. And you've made me hungry. Oh, wow, this is great. I think everyone's enjoying themselves. This is well worth being up at 2 o'clock in the morning for me. It's a little bit after 5 now for me, but it's well worth it. Let me see. David, no. Padmini, you are next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. As Princess started the story, so I thought, okay, and something you and also feeling some hungry. I thought, okay, let me add something to it. Hope this fulfills your hunger for the moment. I'm not sure. This was a story told by my grandmother when I started to experiment a little bit of cooking in the kitchen. So she used to always warn, you have to be careful with the salt. Salt is a thing that you have to add little, not to add too much. And there's a story about it and all those things. That's how the story has come. In a village, there was a beautiful, in those days it was a girl, not ladies, but anyway, as beautiful as me, maybe. I'm beautiful, Baba. Your laugh made me feel that I'm not.
No, I was agreeing. That was a laughter of agreement. No, that was, it's like, yes, she is indeed. Okay.
And she did not know to cook like me. I even don't know to cook even till today. I'm just experimenting. And the kitchen is the biggest thing for me. If I have to enter, I'll be failed. The other things you give me, I'm okay. Kitchen, I'm not very comfortable. So she was not knowing. And there was an young man who wanted to marry her because she was so beautiful. But the young mother's mother knew that she doesn't know to cook. But he said, no, I'm going to marry her. Now, in those days, did he not have any other choice? And he had to go and lend Vadu Dakshina, like you give the money. It's not the other way of accepting. The same way, even my grandmother also got married. Like my grandfather had to pay to my grandmother's father to get married to her. So it was something like that. The practice was like that in those days. So he went and he gave all the earnings of gold coins and said, I would like to marry your daughter. And the man was so happy to get the daughter married, and this was a fantastic wedding and all. Now the mother-in-law was feeling very bad. This boy of mine, who has been brought up by me, did not listen to me. Now I am going to show the role of mother-in-law. A clever boy, that person was quite clever. He knew that his mother would cause something and maybe would damage their relationship. He quickly moved to another village on a work and settled down there. So they were happily living there. And the lady who got married did not know to cooking, but the man is to cook for her. How nice. He used to cook everything for her and feed her, and they were so happy. So once there was a fair, a jatara, a tradition kind of a wherein temple rituals, his mother happened to bump in without a notice. And that's quite common in India. We do that even to today. Right. Once she was there and she asked the first question to the son, did your wife learn to cook? And the boy said, yes, my wife is an excellent cook. She knows to cook everything. Now this lady was from inside thinking, oh my God, I don't need to cook. And just my husband has told like this. What am I going to do? She went near the well and started drawing water. She was drawing water and pouring down, drawing water and pouring down. And he said, don't worry, don't worry. I will be hiding next to the kitchen. From a small window, I shall give you all the directions and you just have to follow that. She's okay, but still she was quite nervous. You know, all of a sudden you expect to go and do it with instruction. Without instruction, we fail. That's okay. With instruction, we do fail many times. And she was there, and the mother-in-law asked, today being Saturday, you know, girl, I don't eat rice or anything. Why don't you make jiffy upma? Upma is another dish which is made out of wheat. It's not a flour, but it is a coarse form of wheat that is taken like it is like a granule form, and we call it as a concrete. In fact, it goes inside, it settles down. There are two groups. One who would enjoy upma, the other would say no upma. So it is some kind of and quickly made snack or a tiffin. Within 10 minutes, you can easily make it. So if anybody enters, upma is our best rescuer. So he said, make upma for my mother. My mother loves it. Then she went inside the kitchen, and as per the direction he was giving her, it's a Tamil language. Of course, I'm just giving a translation in English. He was giving her direction. Take that big vessel, keep it on the fire, lit the fire, add water, all fry this, fry that, everything he was giving her. And this girl was falling, and she was doing everything. The mother-in-law was quite suspicious. Is she really doing? But I'm able to hear somebody singing. Girl, who is that singing? He said, I am singing, mother-in-law. She said, you know to sing? Yes. This song seems something different. Oh yeah, because I'm preparing upma for you. So this is a song of upma. And she was just singing because she was listening to the direction. And there were two boxes. In one, they had kept a jar, salt. In another, they had kept the wheat granules to be added for the upma. Now, the direction given by the husband was, take the jar of granules, drop it, and take a little bit of salt and add. By then, when she saw her mother-in-law entering, she just picked the salt one. She emptied the salt and she placed it. She took little bit of granules of wheat grains and she added and she made it. I don't know how she could make it. Quite excellent lady. She did make it. And she served hot upma to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law, Baba, I'm not going to give you, don't worry. She just tasted it. Oh my God, it was so salty. She said, give me some water, give me some water. So they gave her water to quench and she drank and drank. Oh, she was not quenched. Again, they started drawing the well. The well got dried up. Oh my God, she then hurried to the village lake. She finally drank all the water of the village lake and she was so full and she was bloating and blowing and she ran and she spit out the water, and that's how the sea formed, and sea waters are salty. So while adding salt, better to add little but don't add more, was the caution given by my grandmother. So even till today, I whenever I pick up a salt, I remember upma and I add little bit and they say, okay, let me taste this. Okay, then fine. And that's how I do it. So this is a story of upma. I'm just giving it in English, but in Tamil, it has its own song. Upuma kindal solladi kayam kaduvela pottu molaga pottu all that comes in. That's the story.
You are a great storyteller. And it reminded me of something, but David just sent me a signal that he needs to tell his story real quick before his power runs out. But that was a great story. I have to make one American pun. David and Phil, I think you may pick up on that. But you delightfully assaulted us with that story.
Oh my God. The credit goes to David G.
All right, David, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Padmini. I agree with Babasi. You are a great storyteller. I have so much fun joining in with your stories, Padmini. I'm on holiday. I'm not in England. I'm on holiday in Lanzarote, which is an island off the coast of West Africa. It belongs to Spain. So it's a Spanish island, but if you look geographically, it's level with Morocco. So I'm quite far south, but it's not a hot day today. It's a cool day, but it's not cold like England. I'm just going to show you where I am because I've got internet signal here, but no power. So here's the sea. Can you see the sea? Look behind me. There's the ocean, big waves today.
Yes, yes.
And that's the sea the mother-in-law made.
Backside.
It's quite desert here. You can see like desert plants. So I'm going to tell you a desert story that I think this story is told in Persia, but also I think this story is told in India. So I hope that Aman and Padmini will be able to tell me afterwards, have you heard this story before? I think maybe a story that's popular in the north of India, maybe in Kashmir, this part of India, possibly. But you can tell me, maybe you know it. Are you ready? Story?
Tell us a story.
Tell us a story.
No, you have to do better than that. Story.
Tell us a story.
Tell us a story.
Once there was a merchant. Now, this merchant was not a rich merchant, not a merchant of fame, but he had a camel. And this merchant loved his camel. He loved his camel more than anything else in the world. It wasn't a beautiful camel. It wasn't a young camel, but he loved his camel. Now, one morning, the merchant got up and he looked. Where is my camel? Oh, my camel is gone. My camel has escaped. Oh, but my camel, has somebody stolen my camel? Perhaps somebody has taken my beautiful camel. And he went running through the desert looking for his camel. He looked high, he looked low, but he could find his camel nowhere. Oh, what am I to do? Then he saw 3 travelers. The 3 travelers were coming closer and closer and closer. He ran up to the first traveler and said, tell me, good man, have you seen my camel? I've lost my camel. I must find my camel. And that first stranger spoke. Let me just remember this. It's a long time since I told this story. Very long time since I told this story. And I don't usually get lost in the middle. But let me...
Well, while you're remembering, I have a question. If he's looking for his camel and he went to a person who sold camels, would that be a Camelot or would that be a King Arthur's tale? Oops, I think his power ran out.
Yes,
well,
David is not there now.
Right. So I will just make a couple of comments to see if he comes back on, but he did send me a signal that he didn't have much power left in his phone, and that where he was, he had signal, but no way to recharge his phone. But let's see. No, he's not back yet. But it reminded me of a quick tale that has nothing to do with camels, but I'll make this one a real quick tale. Most of my stories are long, but I'm relearning how to tell them shorter since I can't be as physically interactive as my style for telling stories is. But this story is about a young lion, young Simba, and he was about to be king of the jungle. And so he was feeling very arrogant, very full of himself. And so one day he decided he had to let everyone know who was king of the jungle. So he was walking around as only a lion can, and a monkey fell out of a tree, and he pounced on the monkey. He said, who's king of the jungle? Who's king of the jungle? And the terrified monkey went, you're king of the jungle. That's right. And he walked on some more, and he saw a zebra, and he ran after the zebra, and he brought it down, and he held it by the throat and said, who's king of the jungle? Who's king of the jungle? And the terrified zebra said, you're king of the jungle, almighty lion. That's right, and don't you forget it. And off in the distance, he saw an elephant, and he ran after the elephant, and he stopped the elephant in his tracks. He said, who's king of the jungle? Who's king of the jungle? And the elephant looked down at him, took his trunk, grabbed the lion by his tail, and went, whoop, 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 and tossed the lion away. The lion rolled over and finally got up, and he looked at the elephant. He said, there's no need to be angry. There's no need to be angry. If you don't know, you don't know. That's one of my favorite stories.
That's too good.
And I would be lying to say that was not one of my favorite lion stories. See, anyhow, okay. I don't think David's going to be able to rejoin us. I think his power may have run out. So we're going to go. You're ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so are you going to go first, or is the princess going to go first?
No problem. I can go first.
Okay, we are ready. Ladies and
All
gentlemen,
right.
I call her the Queen Mother. She's my sister from another culture. All right.
Yes. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Myself, Aman. And today I'm going to narrate a story that's a snowy story. So already Jasname has narrated before, but again, I'm going to repeat. It's last few months back. Once there was a little boy, and he was very poor, and he was feeling and freezing with cold. There was so much of cold. He was really freezing and shivering with cold. He lived in a little village around the mountains, but he was very hungry and very poor. One evening, he was walking around the village, and he was feeling so cold and so hungry. He has no coat and no shoes, and he knocked on the door. He knocked on the door of the first house, and the old woman opened the door. And when she opened the door, the old little boy said, please, please, can I have something to eat? Please, please, can I have something to eat? My hands are so cold, and I don't have a coat, and I don't have a shoes. Please, please, can I have something to eat? So the old woman opened the door. She was standing in front of the door, and she replied, oh, please, no, off you go. Hi, David is back. I'm so sorry. All right. David, can I continue with my story, or you want to do it?
No, you continue.
All right. Okay. So the old woman opened the door, and she replied, no, off you go. From where have you come? Please, off you go. And the little boy, he was feeling so sad. Why this woman is not giving me anything? I'm feeling so cold. I'm shivering with cold, and I don't have a coat. So the little boy, he has so cold and so hungry, he went to the next house in the village, and he knocked again on the door. This time, an old man answered. He looked at the boy, and the boy said, please, please, can I have something to eat? My hands are so cold, and so are my feet. Please, please, can I have some water or juice? I don't have a coat, and I don't have any boot. The same reply got by the man. No, off you go. You are not welcome here. Go out back into the snow.
He was so hungry and feeling so cold. So he went to again, he was thinking what to do. And again, he went to the next house in the village and he knocked on the door. This time, an old woman opened the door and the little boy said, please, 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 can I have something to eat? My hands are so cold and so are my feet. Please, please, can I have some water or juice? I don't have a coat and I don't have any boots. So the old woman, she opened the door and she looked at the boy. She said, because the old lady who opened the door, she was very poor. She opened and she said, she watched the little boy. He was feeling with cold. He was shivering and freezing. So the old woman said, come in, little boy, please come in. You are feeling so cold. Come in and sit on nearby the fire. The little boy sat nearby the fire. She said, the little boy, here are some fruits. Have some fruits, little boy. Sit here and have some fruits. Have some soup. So the old lady offered soup, hot chocolate, and some fruits to the little boy. The little boy sat in front of the fire and fell asleep. In the early morning, when she told the little boy, when she saw that the little boy was sleeping nearby the fire, she told her that please come and sleep on my bed. You can sleep in my bedroom. The little boy was in the old man's bedroom and the old woman was sitting and sleeping nearby the fire, in front of the fire. And when the old woman in the morning, she woke up and she remembered that the boy was sleeping, and she rushed in on her room in the bedroom and she looked the boy. Where is the boy? But the little boy was nowhere. He has gone somewhere. There was no sign of the little boy. But on the bed where the little boy slept, the old woman found some beautiful box. And she opened the box. She tried to open the box. Inside the box, she found some coins, silver coins inside the box. And she had ever seen that beautiful box because she was very poor. She could not find the boy anywhere. All that was left was that beautiful box on the bed. The woman went outside in the village. Can you guess where the boy would have gone? Anyone? She searched
Back to his castle.
No. Okay, let me continue. So the old woman moved out and rushed out of her door to look for the boy. She looked here, she looked there, she looked everywhere, but a boy was nowhere. But she noticed something. In the village, she noticed all the villagers were turned into stones. They were statues who all met the boy. All the people in the village had turned into statues. What happened? What happened? The old woman asked everyone, those who were turned into statues. Just then she was asking those statues, the old boy appeared and he said, the old woman, you are my friend. You are so kind. I am not really a poor boy. I am a prince from another village. I came down to your village to test people kindness. These peoples, they have turned into stone. They have a heart of stone. They have a heart of stone. And you are the one who has so kind heart and you have a heart of gold. So this was the story about the old little poor boy who who has given a kind heart to a old woman, poor woman, the heart of gold, because she helped her in her poor situation also. She helped her out, and thank you so much. This was my story.
It was a heartfelt story.
Yes, thank you.
I see where Princess Jasmine gets her talent from. Wonderful story. David,
Thank you,
since
sir.
are you still with us? Are you still with us? We can see you, but we can't hear you. Do you wish to do your story, finish your story?
Now, my laptop is powered. Now
Okay.
it's to my mobile. Hear me, okay?
No. Now you just started coming in. Before it was like, and we
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Okay, I was
Yes.
saying that in the middle of my story, my laptop ran out of power. Sorry about that. It said it had 10 minutes and then suddenly it had 0 minutes. You know,
Laptops do that.
and then
So-
on my mobile phone. I'm not used to it, but I can see you and you can hear me, so I could.
Yes.
It was a good job that I ran out of power because I was a bit stuck in my story, wasn't
Happens to the best of us.
I? So I just wanted to say, Padmini and Aman, do you know the story that I was telling about the merchant and his camel?
Yeah, I'm not very sure. Similar kind of a story I had heard. I was just trying to check with my father, but he didn't.
Okay. So you didn't
I
finish
think
the story.
same as no. I think I also have heard this story, but I don't remember because it's
Okay. So you didn't finish the
I'm-
story for me then.
No, we were all waiting for you to
David.
repeat
David, what
it.
we can do if you don't remember the story, we can create the story as we
No,
have
I
already
rem-
our
I
session.
remember. No, it's okay. I remember the story very well now. I remember the story. But shall I go from the beginning or go from the middle?
No, we remember that you have went to a one boy or one person. He was
Go from
out the camel.
Yeah, you were telling us that someone he asked someone about the camel and the person was about to reply. So pick it up from there, please.
Actually, can I? Is it okay if I start again? Then I can get into my rhythm.
Okay. You're going to get back into your rhythm. Now, you know I have a
Special
fun
favor.
about that, but I'm going to be quiet.
Okay. Story.
Tell us a story.
Story.
There was once a merchant, and he was not a rich or famous merchant, but this merchant had a camel who he loved. It was not a beautiful young camel. It was an old friend. He kissed his camel every night before he went to sleep. And this particular morning, this merchant came to look for his camel. Where is my camel? My camel is gone. Has my camel run away, or has someone taken it? He searched his camel high and low across the desert land. He searched. And then he saw 3 strangers, 3 travelers walking along the path. The merchant rushed up to the first of these travelers. Have you seen my camel? I've lost my camel. Please help me. The traveler didn't stop. The traveler continued walking, but said, your camel is blind in one eye. It's true. You know my camel. Where is my camel? But the stranger continued walking. The merchant came up to the second of those strangers. Traveler, tell me, have you seen my camel? I've lost my camel. And he said, your camel is lame in one leg, and continued walking. It's true, my camel is lame in one leg. How do you know this? Have you taken my camel? Tell me where my camel is. But the stranger continued walking. Now the merchant approached the final traveler. Where is my camel? Where is my camel? I've lost my camel. Your camel has no tail. That's the case. My camel has no tail. You know where my camel is. You have stolen my camel. But the third traveler continued walking. The merchant followed these three travelers, all the time calling at them, shouting at them, becoming angrier and angrier. Thieves, vagabonds! The path through the desert became a wide, tree-lined avenue as they approached the great city. But still the merchant was raging. These three are thieves. They stole my camel. They are robbers. They must be punished. But the three travelers continued walking on into the palace garden, the palace of the Sultan. The Sultan came outside, hearing all the noise from the shouting merchant. What is the trouble? These three, they've stolen my camel. I know they've stolen my camel. How do you know this? Because they know my camel has one eye, is lame in one leg, and has no tail. Now the Sultan himself turned to the three travelers. How do you know these things? The first traveler said, I know his camel has one eye, because as I followed the path and the avenue, the trees on one side of the path had their leaves ripped, but on the other side, the leaves were untouched. On this side, the camel had eaten, but not on this side. The second traveler said, I know that his camel is lame in one leg. I looked at the prints on the ground, the footprints of the camel. It was clear. And the third traveler said, I know that his camel had no tail, because there were drops of dried blood on the path. If the camel had a tail, it would have brushed those flies away that sucked his blood. Ah, said the merchant. This is how they knew. Ah, said the Sultan. Bring the camel. And servants brought the camel, which had arrived earlier at the palace. Well, the merchant rushed up to his camel. He bathed his camel in kisses. My camel is returned to me. My camel is safe. He was so glad. The Sultan turned to the three travelers again and said, Remain here with me. You are wise men indeed. If you are my advisors, then I will rule more wisely. And you know they did, and never was a sultan better advised than that one.
That was well worth the wait. Thank you, David.
Aman, Padmini, is this the story that you had heard before?
A similar kind of a judgment, but not the three travelers, two travelers, and was blind and was carrying honey and wheat, kind of something. So something like that, which ants were following. Something ants were following the street, and that he says because I could see all through the ants were following and all those kinds.
I think it's also connected to Buddhism, and I think
yes,
a Buddha
story.
aspect to that
right,
story as well.
Jataka tales.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that we should maybe encourage them to send their CVs to Boris Johnson.
I got that, and I'm on the other side of the pond.
Well said.
Princess Jasmine, you're up. Oh, wait, just one moment. In case your power goes down again, David, your background is making me hungry to travel, and it's making me even hungrier to arrive in Marrakesh. So thank you.
Yes, it's
right,
very similar, I think.
Princess Jasmine, you up? I mean, you're next.
Yes. So to recite a poem, and I recited this poem in my school competition. That was yesterday. So the poem's name is The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary Highland lass, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here, or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain, and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chaunt more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady haunt. Among Arabian sands, a voice so thrilling never was heard in the springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps plaintive numbers flow for old unhappy, please, for old unhappy far off things and battles long ago. Or is it some humbly familiar matter of today, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides? Whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if a song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bendings. I listened, motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. Thank you.
All right, as always, as
No,
always.
sister was disturbing.
So very
I'm
quickly
so
before, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. She was laughing in between. I scolded her. Actually, my younger daughter, she was disturbing her in between.
I figured it was something like that, but you know what?
Yes.
She recovered and she finished it, and that's what's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like being heckled, which sometimes happens to storytellers. I was heckled once.
I've got a younger sister too. I know what it's like.
She was making faces in front of her, and I scolded her right now. Please stop it.
See, siblings do that. I'm the eldest, and even though my youngest sibling is in their 50s, but they still do stuff like that. So yes, I understand. Very quickly before I give out the notes on what's coming up, I have to thank each of you for your backgrounds. Padmini, your background with your props and I think your puppets have made me hunger to be an interactive storyteller and share things person to person again. Queen and princess and the princess who's off camera. Watching you makes me hunger for fellowship and family gatherings again. Phil, in addition to your puppet, who makes me hungry for stories, looking at your background has made me hungry for food as well. And as I said before, David, your background has made me hungry for vacation and travel. Thank each and every one of you for what you have added to today's session, because you're all great storytellers, and I look forward to doing this again. All right, so that John Rowe.
Can we say big thank you to the one and only Mr. Babasi.
Asante
Early in the
Thank
morning.
you very much. Yes, because when I finish here, it'll be about 6 in the morning. I ate breakfast about 3 or 4 in the morning because I didn't want you to hear my stomach. When my stomach growls, the microphone picks it up. But now my stomach is saying, you know, it's time for a proper breakfast. But before I forget, so John Rowe
don't have too much salt, Babasi, not too much salt.
No, not too much salt. I might pepper breakfast though.
David will
so
remember
coming up
now when picking up salt or pepper, should I add more or not?
See, oh, real quick. So when I was pretending to be a child, I was told a story about a lady who used to get upset with her husband because every day he would come in and have dinner, he would sit down, he would add salt to everything. And she would say, but you haven't tasted it yet. And he would just add salt to everything. And she would complain day in and day out that, but you haven't tasted yet. So one day she fixed 2 dinners, one for the children and one for him. And she put salt upon salt upon salt on everything on his dish. He came in, he sat down, he took the salt shaker and he put salt on everything. And then he took a bite, and he never did that again. Okay, today is the 11th. So tomorrow at 12, nope, tomorrow's the 12th. So all times are UK times. 6 p.m., Rock the Cash Bar, where we're doing fundraising to help defray the cost of the upcoming festival in February. I believe it's the 12th through the 20th. And then on the 14th, of course, moved up to 4:30 p.m. UK time, the International Young Tellers, 18 and younger. Oh man, I think that's one of the highlights of my week. And then Friday, 6 p.m. UK time, Pauline Cordiner. Did I get her name right, David? All right. And then that Saturday at 6 p.m. UK time, Rosa Barbour's Christmas special. And that following Sunday on the 19th at 6 p.m. UK time, the Worldwide Story Round back. John Rowe may be back. I'm still on standby. And there's more to come, but we'll let you know in the week coming up. In the meantime, to each and every one of you, Asante Sana, which is Swahili for thank you very much. Vizuri Sana, very well done. Oh man, this was worth getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning for me. So each of you enjoy the holiday, and may 2022 bring each of you and all of yours all that you need, if not all that you want. Thank you very much. Take care, my good friends. Go do what you got to do and enjoy the day. Ali, thank you once again for flying the magic carpet.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you, everyone.
All right,
Thank
my
you.
family from another culture
Bye-bye.
and my friends, mwah, I love you all.
Bye,
Take
Phil. Bye, Padmini. Bye, Jasnami. Bye, Aman. Bye,
Bye-bye,
Bapati.
David.
Bye,
Bye. Thank
Ali.
you so
Bye.
much.
Until the next time, to be continued. Thank you, Ali. Thank you beyond thank yous.
Thank you, Rafiki.
And the queen and her princess, you were just, y'all are fascinating. You're just fascinating. Yes. And I knew your sister was off camera doing things.
Ali, you are on recording.
Yeah.
Stop recording. Bye-bye. Babaji wants to say something. Let him. You can continue, Babaji, what he was saying.
Yeah, sure.
I was just saying, I knew that someone was off camera. I suspect it was your little sister
She
off
is
camera
the
making
one.
you laugh.
She's the. I'll show the face. See, she is the
Yes.
one. Not girl.
She's the one that does the Instagram.
Yeah, she was disturbing a lot.
Yes, that's her job. And Jasmine, you did your job by overcoming her distractions. So that was great. That was great. All right, everybody, enjoy your day, your evening, your night.
Same there. Bye-bye. Take care,
All right.
everyone. Enjoy.
Take care. And once again, Ali, Asante Sana, thank you very much.
Asante sana, my friend.
All right.